Next, there is a huge debate going on right now in Nairobi as representatives from 160 countries try to come up with a treaty on plastic pollution. The debate, in broad terms, whether the emphasis for countries should be on reducing the production of plastics, that's the position of the EU, Japan, Kenya and dozens of other countries, or what Saudi Arabia and much of the industry argue, the focus should be on recycling, reusing plastic. For today's perspective, Graham Forbes is the Greenpeace Head of Delegation to the treaty negotiations. He is in Nairobi. Graham, talk us through what's going on. This is the third set of negotiations to come up with this UN treaty. Are you encouraged by progress made so far?
Yes, we're at a critical moment in the treaty negotiations where we've just crossed the midway mark. We have just over a year to deal with an issue that's at the heart of the triple planetary crisis, driving climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. And for us to get where we need to go, we're really going to need high ambition countries to step up and really listen to the will of the people. And we're going to need countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, and other major oil producing nations to come on board or really get out of the way.
Now, Saudi Arabia have come up with a coalition of countries talking really about the recycling issue, reusing rather than production. I think you're firmly in the camp of reducing production as a big key issue.
Yeah, plastic production is set to triple by 2050, and there is no way to end plastic pollution without dramatically decreasing plastic production. To date, we've recycled only 9% of the plastic that's ever been produced. Plastic recycling is not the way to deal with plastic pollution, so we're pushing for upstream measures that get at plastic production and address the toxic chemicals that go into making plastic.
You mentioned, you want to see production, I think, reduced. I think it's something like 75% by 2040. And the form of the whole treaty will become like the Paris Treaty for the Environment in 2015. So that's the idea by the end of 2024. You're clearly not happy with Saudi Arabia, Iran. You've called them the low ambition coalition. But realistically, how much sway do you think they have? Where can you see this going?
Well, I think the reality is the people in Saudi Arabia and Iran are going to suffer the consequences of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution just like the rest of us. Plastics is an issue that people around the world are demanding solutions to. And so it's going to be tough, but for those countries, they're going to need to step up and find a way to come on board with the rest of the High Ambition Coalition and other countries to put forward real solutions that address the plastic pollution crisis. And that means dealing with plastic production and the toxic chemicals that put human health at risk.
Take us forward a few years. I mean, if you believe that this will have some success, what you would like to see and what it would mean for the average person going about their daily lives, dealing with or not dealing with plastic, how would we see a difference?
So I think the first thing is that we aren't even really trying right now. And the petrochemical and fossil fuel companies that are flooding these negotiations with lobbyists have made plastic incredibly cheap while sacrificing the communities that live around these facilities who are suffering increased cancer rates and really seeing friends and families die. And so what we'd like to see is moving the world towards a low carbon future where we reuse sustainable materials, we protect human health and and we move away from a fossil fuel-based economy, which plastics are very much part of.
I've been to many COP summits, the Committee of the Parties summits for the environment in the past. I've seen how ugly these things get, how serious the arguments break out between, say, China, Saudi Arabia, the UK, the US, trying to get a deal. And usually, the more fierce the argument, the more close to a deal you get. What are you seeing in terms of that being reflected for plastics? I mean, are we talking about a convivial debate, or is it quite fierce at the moment?
Well, I would say everyone knows the stakes are very high on this issue. Plastic pollution is one of the major global issues facing humanity. And I think the fossil fuel industry is very clear. Preventing progress here is a priority for them. So we are still relatively early days. The process has been sort of murkied by Saudi Arabia, Iran, and others. And so I think we're at a place now where we need to come together, continue to push ambition, and we're going to need high ambition countries to take some leadership to ensure we come away with outcomes from INC3 that set us up for success as we head towards Ottawa next year in April.
Just given world affairs right now, dominated world attention going around the situation in Gaza, you also have a conflict in Ukraine as well. How much does that offset the goals that you're trying to achieve? Is that affecting your momentum?
I mean, there's no doubt that these issues are having an effect here in the negotiations, but fundamentally, plastic pollution is something with broad universal support from people around the world. And I think it's really an opportunity for leaders to show that multilateralism can still solve challenges of today. And so we're really looking for leadership, and we'd like to see countries use plastic pollution and reducing plastic production as a way to show that multilateralism can be effective in solving large global challenges that are increasingly escalating as we head towards through the climate emergency.
What's it like, Graham, going to these events, these summits, as a negotiator for Greenpeace? Do you feel a welcome guest? Do you feel that there are eyes upon you, expecting some kind of operation to be carried out, some kind of press appeal that you might, a stunt, as you might call it? What's the sort of welcome to you like as an organisation?
Yeah, well, I think one of Greenpeace's key roles here is pushing for ambition, standing up for people on the planet, and we're really trying to bring in the millions of people around the world who have joined Greenpeace and our allies in the Break Free from Plastic movement to show the more progressive countries that they have the support of the people and to demand action. Greenpeace has a number of experts here. I think we are actively participating in the negotiations and pushing very hard for real solutions. They're actually going to achieve outcomes from this multilateral agreement that actually see the progress that people around the world desperately need.
We've seen campaigns from Greenpeace around the world, sometimes to the consternation, the chagrin of many governments, but it usually gets attention, sometimes front pages. Can we expect anything this time round in Nairobi?
Well, I think our focus in Nairobi is really moving the negotiations forward. We had a very powerful march with our colleagues in Greenpeace Africa, where we had hundreds of people from the community and all around the world demanding change and encouraging ambition. And I think, we're going to continue to escalate, continue to push ambition, and continue to bring in the millions of voices that really want to see world leaders step up to this challenge.
Graham, good to talk to you. Graham Forbes from Greenpeace. Good luck with the plan. Courage trying to reduce plastic pollution on Earth. Thank you.